Hey, everybody. How are we doing today? It's Amy. Thank you so much for tuning in to Amy's Inspiration Station here on the Altenew YouTube and Facebook channels. It's so wonderful to have you today. I really appreciate your time, and I hope you are doing super fabulous today. Hi, Charlene. How are you doing? It's so nice. And Nancy, oh, windy. I got to tell you, Nancy, it's a little windy over here in New England, and I'm kind of over it. It's been about 4 days. I have like windburn, which you can like why my cheeks are so red from being outside. Hi, Yvette. Hi, Ian. How are you doing? And Helena, hello from Sweden. Jody from Arizona. Definitely nice and warm over there. And hi, Sue. It's so good to see you today. Sue understands what I'm talking about. She's in New England as well. And hi, Elizabeth from Salt Lake City. And thank you guys so much. Hi, Lizette. Hi, Janelle. Hi, Stacy. Oh, Janelle, just you wait. I already changed up my ideas before I went on. It was getting a little bit crazy. And hi, Mercedes. Hi, how we doing? And hi, Stacy. Stacy already shared this. Thank you so much. Jamie, Little Stampin' Bug, thank you for being here. And thank you, Stacy, for sharing this. And as Angel had already pointed out, if you share this live stream while we are live, you will be entered to win a $15 gift card to Altenew. So let us know where you have shared it, and good luck. And Nancy, it's the allergies. Yes, I know. So hi. And the Creative Graham. Oh my gosh, so sick of it. I need spring to be here in nice warm weather, and it is not. Rachel from Israel, hello. And Dawn from Auckland. Oh, I wish I was back there. I love Auckland. It was beautiful when I was there. And Naomi, thank you for sharing. And Sue, thank you for sharing. And Sherry, thank you. Hello from Georgia. It's so nice to see you. And Angel is behind the badge today, so please give her a shout out. She's going to be helping to add some things to the Altenew stream as I quickly talk to you about them, and she's going to get those links up if you're interested in any of the products that we are using today. So today is all about the new Craft-A-Flower butterfly bush. And so it had snow still. Oh, good. I'm glad, Yvette. Nice and sunny and 72. That's good. And thank you, Debbie, for sharing this to Facebook. And Cece from Sweden, Serena, thank you for sharing this. And Elizabeth, thank you for sharing. Yvette, thank you for sharing. And again, if you share this while we're live, you'll be entered to win a $15 gift card to Altenew. And so, yeah, today is all about the Craft-A-Flower butterfly bush. I need to know if you have seen the amazing projects that came out on Saturday. Yeah, on Saturday we had the blog hop. Amazing. I just loved everybody's card on the design team and all of the guest designers. Everything was beautiful. And I on my card project, I got a lot of comments about my gold. And so everyone was like, whoa, there's some so gold on there. So I wanted to talk today about adding gold and elements to your projects and all the different ways that Altenew can kind of add some gold into your life. So Angel, I apologize in advance. I think I may have pulled out some things that I have not been, I did not talk about when I talked to you before. And I agree that this was so beautiful. So Sherry, thank you for sharing. And if you share this, just like Sherry did, you'll be entered to win a $15 gift card to Altenew, and you'll be able to grab the Butterfly Bush Craft-A-Flower. Absolutely gorgeous. Butterfly Bush is my favorite. I put in my blog post that I love to just sit on my porch, and I have some beautiful butterfly bush right there. And for us in Massachusetts, they come up in like late July for me. They're kind of late, and but the fragrance they have and then the butterflies that come, it is like swarming with butterflies. And so that's where I wanted to kind of talk about. So I talked about that in my blog post today, but you can kind of see it's so hard to photograph, guys. I can't even tell you, but this up close, like in real life, and I'll just kind of push it into into the light so you can just see all that beautiful shimmer and shine that is on this card. So yeah, I know, totally cannot get enough. Can never have enough gold. I'm with you, Nikki. You got to love the gold elements. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. All right, so Angel's ready to go. Are you ready, Angel? Here we are. I'm going to go ahead and turn this down. And again, thank you so much for being here. And Terry, you grew up in Boston? Yes. All right. I'm glad to have another Bostonian out there on the crew. Love it. Although today you might be like, oh, I got to say, spring in New England is really our best season. It's so gorgeous. So, and hello from Northern Alberta, Canada. I'm hoping spring is coming your way soon. Oh, but Aaliyah, yes, Gil. Thank you so much for pointing that out. A lot of times we have like common names in the US and we don't always use the scientific names, but it is Buddleia. All right, I'm going to go ahead and turn this down. Cherry's thinking fall. I'm thinking spring is beautiful. And they are absolutely gorgeous. The kits, the Craft-A-Flower, like how you can get all of these, gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. So I'm down here. And Petty 1976, hello from New York. Thank you for being here with us today. And if you share this, thank you, Sue, for sharing this. If you share this while we are live, you will be entered to win a $15 gift card to Altenew. And make sure you give a thumbs up. Yes, absolutely. And oh, yes, if you plant them, they will come. The butterflies are just crazy. Oh, yeah. And yes, and cold, and then it's hot. The creative Graham. It is. I know. I feel like we're missing seasons up here in Massachusetts. So this is the newest Craft-A-Flower. It's gorgeous. And hi, Deb from Tennessee. Thank you for joining us today. We are talking about the Craft-A-Flower butterfly bush, and we're talking about gold. Adding gold. What are some different kind of ways we can get gold onto our projects? And I'll share all the ideas that I pulled out that I did not tell Angel ahead of time, but I should have. So this set is awesome. It really is awesome. I love the size of this flower. And so this is on an A2 card, which is 5.5 by 4.25. And you'll see it takes up 2/3 of the card. I love it. It's so huge and absolutely gorgeous. And then I'll show you some of the other kind of things that I brought up and did this. But let's talk about this flower first. So this set comes with oh, good, Elizabeth. You're going to be able to craft along as soon as you get that. And Sherry, you just got your craft to garden. Gorgeous. Love that. And Lottie, hello from North Carolina. Thank you for being here with us today. And hopefully this will inspire you to add some gold elements. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I was like down at the end of the hop and I don't know. I just was like, I didn't do much on Instagram and kind of showing everybody my card. So I think some people saw it. I think I had a couple of comments on there. And then, yes, we have butterfly bush dies and butterfly dies. And I like that it comes with that. And you get 2 big butterflies. Like you get this kind of open winged one. And let me just show you. I have one that I foiled. Oh, and he's gone. I had him right here too. You know, I had these. Got to have these guys. This is coming in. If you've been following me and we've been crafting together for a little bit, you know I have lost my eyesight and now I have to wear this. All right, I had the bigger butterfly, but we're just going to have to cut another one of them out. But you can see how big this is. And then you get this one that's in flight. And I think both of them are really kind of cool. And then you get this gorgeous layered flower. And so you have the base layer. Then you have that detail layer, and then you get the super detail layer. And this one is separate pieces. And so I'm going to give you guys a couple of hints about what you can do with this. And then it comes with one leaf, and it comes with this little branch. And the branch is supposed to have the leaf, you know, you can kind of attach the leaf to it right here. I did not do that on mine just because of the way it kind of worked out. But I love the fact that it has that other piece of green that you can add in. So and this leaf is actually layered as well. So there's 3 parts to the leaf and one here. So we're going to kind of play around with this, but we're going to start first with the butterfly bush. Now I wanted to point out one thing on this and show you what I did. So my flower that I made, the very base layer is I decided to go in the direction where this is my darkest layer. And so what I did is I have a dark layer. This is the black that you can kind of see popping through a little bit. And then I went with a lighter layer. And then this is actually like a dark purple, but I added gold elements to this to make it a little bit different. So I'll show you how I did that today. And that's our inspiration image. And that, again, you can kind of see where it's dark on the base. So the paper that I used for this, which I don't think you can guess from taking a look at it now that I see it, but I just used black. I'm actually going to change this over to this navy that I grabbed from my stash today. So I'm just going to grab some navy cardstock for my base. And the paper that I actually used was the alcohol ink background paper pack. And these are gorgeous. And the Creative Gram, you are right. It does look like a lilac. It really does. Which also lilacs, if you are in New England, are coming up right now. So those are in there. Yes, or phlox. Yes. The alcohol ink backgrounds paper pack. I love this paper. It is it's a 6x6, and what I like about it is the images. So you can see I cut out a lot of things from there. These are double-sided, and you can kind of choose where on the paper you're looking for those different kind of colors. So for the pinks, let me grab a piece of pink. So for pink, and of course it's never the one you want, right when you want it. Here we go. So for this kind of like a pink, you can see how you have a really dark, like very, very purple. And then, but if you wanted a little bit of a lighter kind of pink, it's just going to be depending on where you place your die or how it is that you cut up your paper. And there's just so many different colors in here that you can get. So this paper is gorgeous. Deb, it is gorgeous, gorgeous paper. Oh, thank you so much, 42 Rosie. Hi, Carmen. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you share this live stream while we're live, you'll be entered to win a $15 gift card to Altenew. And Angel is behind the badge today. So she is kind of watching your comments and seeing what is happening and helping us out and putting those wonderful links into these great products we have here. Hi, Angel. Yeah, this is gorgeous paper. And what's nice about it, I don't know, like I'm still practicing my alcohol ink backgrounds, and sometimes they get areas that I'm like, what happened to that? And I get other areas that I'm like, oh my gosh, that's gorgeous. And this way it's kind of done for me. And they are double-sided, and I tend to use these a lot with the Craft-A-Flowers because I'm one about variation. Oh my God, look at the purple. Look at the purple. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. And even this blue, I'm just going to sit here and do an entire hour just on this paper pack, I swear. This one is a good one to grab just because, again, you can put that die wherever you want it in order to get the colors that you're looking for. So I'm going to grab the pink that I had out. Let me grab that back here. So this is the pink, and I'm going to put this up with the navy. So I'm going to pull this back. So this is the alcohol ink paper pack. Alcohol ink background paper pack. All right, so this I'm going to run through my machine, and I'm going to run the background. So this is our base layer. It's the one that has the most surface area. And then the one with the second amount of surface area, I'm going to run through the pink on here. Now, I know you guys won't believe me unless I show you. Oh my gosh, that Loretta, that purple, I was like debating about using it right now because it's so gorgeous. And then I'm like, oh, but I decided on this navy, and it wouldn't totally go right. But man, it's gorgeous. Oh, Naomi, that's a great idea. Glossy accents on the swirl, so it looks like I've done it. That's a good idea. This die will actually fit through the mini blossom. So I just wanted to point that out to you. I have to cut off the edge because my paper's too big for this, but it will fit through the mini blossom. So I'll just find my scissors. Hopefully I did not just mess that up. Oh, I was so close. All right, there we go. So this will actually fit through the mini blossom. I just wanted to point that out, which is great because this little guy, he can do so much. It's kind of crazy. He has like a spot of honor on my desk, and I was just explaining to my husband about like how I craft in pretty much like a 12 by 12 area, even though my desk is massive. I don't know if the rest of you are I don't know about the rest of you. Like you have this massively large desk, but you still end up somehow crafting in a 12 by 12 area. I don't know. That's me. And Sue, as you know, this is us being New Englanders. Heaven forbid, I don't use every single scrap of something that I have there. It's got to be there. By the way, I also have the honorary cat hair right attached to that too. All right, so I want to pop this out here. And so this is our base layer. And so there's our little base layer. I'm just going to pop these other guys out. Let me grab my other. I'm just going to grab my pokey tool. Forgot to have that out. Here we go. All right. So let me just go ahead and get these pieces out. So this is our base layer to our butterfly bush. And this is the Craft-A-Flower butterfly bush, which is our newest Craft-A-Flower, which is a layering dies. These are layering dies. And if you have any questions about the subscription or the Craft-A-Flowers or anything at all, let me know. Are these your favorite? I love them. I really, really do. Really, really love them. All right, so I'm going to put that over to the side, move my pieces. And now I'm going to grab this section. So I have to kind of like make a decision on this alcohol ink background paper, which is gorgeous, where I want this to be. And I want it to be, I don't want it to be super dark. So I'm going to kind of go up into this area. And I'm just going to grab my, Perry colored flower. Janelle, that is awesome. Gorgeous. Yes, Dawn, you are with me, right? A couple of big baggies full of scrap. I'm with you. I'm with you, Sue. Heaven forbid I have a lot more than a couple of baggies full of scraps. And everybody's like, do you need all that? Yes, I do, because I never, ever know. And you notice how careful I am right now about cutting into this paper. And I am going to use up, I don't want to cut out whatever I don't need. I'm saving every single scrap because that's what we do as New Englanders. We save every scrap. All right, so this is my other piece. So I'm going to go ahead and put that down. And you guys don't see it because it's right off to the edge, but I also save all of my my washi tape. I save all these too because I reuse them and make sure I can. Okay, so now I'm going to put this through. And Perry colored flower, Janelle, love that idea. I love the periwinkle, and you can see that they kind of did that. This is my screen, at least from what I can see, it looks a little bit darker than it is. But if you look on the, if you get this and you look on it, it's definitely like a beautiful, that was a little tight. All right, so this guy is right here. Okay, so now when we put these on top of each other, and Altenew has absolutely great double-sided adhesive sheets, which are perfect for the Craft-A-Flower. I don't always use them because of the fact that I like the glue, because glue kind of helps me with, when I tend to stick things together, I'm just one of those people that I don't always get it the first time. I don't know if you're like me out there. And so I tend to need the glue because the glue gives me a little bit of wiggle room. And so I really, really need that wiggle room. I know, Naomi, I think it squeaked because this paper is gorgeous paper. It's a little bit on the thicker side. And I think he was just like, my mini blossom was like, yep, I don't know if we're going through this right now today, lady. But that's all right. He made it. It is a workhorse in my room, I'm telling you. It is a small but mighty little thing. All right, so what I like about this, so I just want to point out from this paper pack, and that's why I was talking about the alcohol ink paper pack, is that even though you have this one sheet, you get this beautiful variability, and it just looks neat. So instead of cutting it out from just a piece of pink paper, which I could have done by using the alcohol ink backgrounds paper, I'm already getting variation. I haven't done anything to this. I didn't ink blend it. I could do that. I haven't done anything to it. And just by cutting it out from that paper, I get that variability. All right, so I'm going to put this on my navy cardstock. And so already you can start to see this start to build. And so we're getting that depth from here. And I know I'm on black, and I'll totally show this to you on white. I'm just trying to find my glue, which I had put aside. And it's stuck. Okay. So let me just glue this right on top of each other. Okay. So as I'm gluing, I would love to know if you're a Craft-A-Flower fan, if you're somebody who's like, you know, because Altenew does the dimensional stamping, which is amazing. There's now the dimensional stenciling, which is also amazing. And then there is the dies. So they have these beautiful floral dies you can get as a subscription every month. So it's delivered to your door, and you also get it at a discount. And you get to kind of play with what the newest Craft-A-Flower is every single month. And yes, Sue, I'm loving this right now. Yes, you know the Creative Grand Gram, the only one that I know of that's coming up in our area, it just happened, which is the show that's in New Hampshire. That one that just happened, but that one's more scrapbooking. The one that's out in Springfield, or out near Springfield, that one should be in the beginning of June. And then they have the Scrapbook Expo. No, they have, the Scrapbook Expo. That's in like September. That one's in not near Milford. It's near Milford. It's Milford, I think. It's somewhere over there. So they have that. And then it's glue. What comes in the subscription? So with the subscription, every month you get the Craft-A-Flower, whatever the heck it is. And Angel, do we know what I know you get it at a discounted price. And these are great. You also, if you end up with any of the subscriptions, we have like 7 things you can get for subscription. It might be 5 on that one. I'll double check. And any of these, you get a preview of it ahead of time. So if you're like, yeah, you know what, butterfly bush, not my thing, you get a picture of it and you get to decide whether you want to keep it or whether you want to skip it. And so when you get the Craft-A-Flower, it arrives the day that it's released. So you kind of get it the exact same day. So there's no like waiting or anything like that. You get that right away on that one. Yes, it's great paper. So, all right, so this is it. Let me put this on white so you can see what I'm talking about. So you can see that you have this really pretty navy background that's already in there. So now what we need is a little bit more detail. So the last layer that I have on here, and that last layer, at least on my card that my tea came off of, don't know why, is I did this in gold. So now let's talk about some gold. Let's talk about some different ways that we can kind of muss around with gold. So one way that I wanted to show you is, yes, you should look into it. We have the Build-A-Garden, which is subscription. That's replacing the Build-A-Flower. We have the Craft-A-Flower, which comes out on the 7th. Then we have the Craft Your Life kits. Oh, amazing. Those come out on the 12th. And then we have the Mini Delight, which is a little tiny guy. That comes out on the 15th. And then we finally have the Paint-A-Flower, which comes out on the 22nd. And those are all a subscription. And it really just kind of depends on what you're interested in and a price point. But what's nice about all the subscriptions is you can make a decision whether you want it or not. And you're like, all of a sudden you're like, yeah, that's not my thing. You can skip it. So it's not an automatically point to you. All right. So I wanted to talk about the first way to add gold elements on here. And I know you're like, Amy, you're holding paper. We got it. And I agree, 42 Rosie. We don't have a million pieces to work with here. These are big. The next one, you're going to be like, that's a lot of pieces, but I'm going to talk about how to handle that. So one way to add gold is Altenew has some specialty papers. And the specialty papers they have are amazing. And 2 of them they have, you can actually get this as a pack, is the gold foil. And that's this right here. or you can get the gold mirrored cardstock. And so gold mirror, you can see me like, hello, hi everybody. Hey, how you doing? So this is really mirrored and you can really like see a reflection. There's my camera, there's my ceiling, there's me, there's some lights. Like this is very, very super shiny. And that's the gold mirrored cardstock. Then you have the gold foil. And I like the gold foil because you get this gold element, but you can see like it's not, I mean, that's my hand, but it's a shadow. It's not like gold mirror. Gold mirror is like shiny, like bright, like, oh, in your face. But the gold foil is really, really nice. It's a nice subtle. So let me show you. So I'm not using the gold foil. I just wanted to show you the difference because when you look on the website, it is so hard to tell from the pictures what the heck these two things are. And so I wanted to demonstrate them just so you can see. And there are times when I love a gold mirror. I like to put this on my project. I usually use this as my main element. Like I'll like have a huge sentiment or like a huge whatever. And this will be my main element just because it's so like shiny and in your face. This one I like is like the subtle gold. And so that's actually what I did here. So my letters are out of, as you can tell, because it's right here, come out of this. And that's where my letters came from, is I put them out of the gold foil cardstock. And I really like this paper. It's gorgeous paper. I think we sell 10 sheets for $9.99 and they're like 8.5 by 11 sheets. And it's not paper I use a lot. It's kind of like, you know, I pull it in from time to time, but it's just really, really beautiful paper. This here, I actually did a little trickety trick. And this is actually on my card is foil. And it's it actually is foiled, like heat foiled on there. And I used an embossing powder that I had in my stash that I put on there. It's like a sticky one. And then I put foil on it and then I ran it through my laminator and it was done. I'm going to try and recreate this effect using some of the things I'm going to show you today. But this is where we're going to start off. So I'm going to actually grab, my tea is moving, which is not happy. I'm going to actually cut this out and I want to cut my, actually, let me cut this out of the gold mirror. I'm going to cut this out of the gold mirror cardstock so you can see how nice and bright and shiny this is. So I'm going to cut this with my scissors again. And this is tricky because it does like, it gets fingerprints on it. And I am somebody who like, I am not a clean crafter. I don't know about the rest of you out there, but I'm kind of a messy crafter. Stuff goes everywhere. I get glitter in my hair. I walk around with sweatpants with glitter on them. It's just everywhere. I don't know what else to do about that, but it is what it is. So the gold mirror, which is what I'm using right now, it will get my fingerprints, I guess is the best way to put it. It will get my fingerprints on it. All right, now I'm not going to put tape on there because I think I can do this together. But what I want to do is when I run this sucker through, these are all little separate parts. All right. Oh, good. I'm glad there's some solidarity in the messy crafters out there. This is going to cut out into separate pieces. So you have to do your best. You can see my hand. Hello. You have to do your best in keeping these pieces in the cardstock. Do not allow them to run away and get away from you. They have to stay in there. That is my little word to the wise on this. All right, here we go. I'm going to run this through and run this through my mini blossom. See, no squeak. I swear it was that other paper. It's just so thick, that alcohol ink background paper. It's gorgeous. All right, I'm going to run it through one time forward and one time backwards, just because I want to like double check that I'm getting everything off of it. Now, if you're like, don't have this paper and you're like, you know what? I'm not a paper person. It's expensive, etc. One other thing you can do is you can make the paper, like make kind of like special paper yourself just by using embossing powder. And so you can just take some paper add some ink, embossing ink, and then sprinkle the embossing powder on it. And we're going to go through that in just a second because I want to show you some other ways to add some gold elements on this. All right, so now when I lift this up, I'm going to do my best to keep all those little pieces in there. All right, I'm just double checking I ran it through enough. Just double checking. I know, we're doing great. Okay, all right. Do you know that time when like you just didn't have enough pressure on your cardstock and you just know some of those pieces are not going to come out when you want them to? Now is that time, everybody. I need a little bit of collective help out there. I got to put this guy right back in where he was, just like a puzzle piece. And I'm just going to run it through one more time. Now, Altenew sells a shim for your mini blossom, which is perfect for times like these. There he goes. He's squeaking now. I, however, do not own said shim, but it does exist. It does exist. And so this is the perfect time for that little metal shim that they do have on there. Okay, much better, maybe? We hope. All right, so I'm going to keep all these little pieces in here, and I'm going to do my best that we have and flip it over. Put a thin piece. You guys are all so wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm going to try it one more time because I'm noticing there's a couple of pieces that are still not super in here. All right, I'm going to flip it over and add a piece on top. We're going to go double on this. I randomly have a bookmark right here. So we're going to try it a couple of times here. Here we go. All right, one more time. I have a bookmark on my desk that I made a while ago. Okay, here we go. All right, just doing the shims and we're getting it out. This gold mirror cardstock is nice and thick and heavy like that though. So I do want to point that out. Hopefully that worked a little bit better. Yep, that looks better. All right, so I'm going to keep my pieces in as best I can. And I know when I flip this over, they're all going to kind of come out. So I have one little guy in here, two guys that have decided to stay around and not be there. But I want to make sure it's better if they obviously stay in the die, but I'll take it if they're in the paper right now. Okay, so here we go. We'll deal with those other guys later. So I'm going to grab my glue. Oh, that's a good idea with the press and seal, Sue. And use your metal shim on that layer. And I have to say, like, who said under pressure? That's awesome. Thank you, 42 Rosie. Yes, this is definitely good. And flip it over before taking it off. Yes, Debbie, these are all good ideas. Thank you. And I know. I know. All right, so I'm just going to grab some glue, and I'm just going to start just kind of dabbing in little pieces of glue. And all these little kind of like little sections, if I'm keeping them in here, it's going to be a lot easier to line them up. If I have to now like go and try to figure out like where these are going to end up on my flower, that it's just going to be a little bit too hard. So I'm just kind of messing around, just adding in all of this glue, and then I'm going to throw this back over, and then we'll go in. Now, how are you like, well, how do you know where it is? Because that it's not like an inside one, kind of like all the little edges. That's what this is going to be, is all those little edges. That's where I want to add that glue because that's where it's all going to end up. All right, and again, it's glue, so if I mess up, I should be able to pop it back over when I get it. All right, here we go. And I got this. Now, what I'm trying to do is I want to line these up as best I can, and I know I'm doing this a little blind and a little backwards. And so I'm going to get right up and over it. And actually, the fact that these pieces kind of came out is going to help me a little bit. And if I had left it on the die side, this would have helped me a little bit. I lost my poking tool. Here it is. All right, so I'm just going to start up at the top and just start pushing these through. And I'm going to do it a different way. I'm starting over, trying something else. Okay. All right. And there we go. And what's nice about this is it does line up like really super easy. It really, really lines up really super easy. So now I'm just going to start poking these through and just peeling off that negative space. Got to get the glasses on, guys, because I cannot see what I'm doing. And this gold, because now we have this gold mirror to it, just gives us a really, really super nice shine to it. Okay. And again, it is glue, so I'm doing the best I can. I know it's going to move, but I kind of wanted it to move. Whoever suggested the press and seal, that's always good, but I always forget. It's in my kitchen, and I need to keep it up in my craft room. That's something I need to bring up here. Okay, and I'm coming in, and I know I'm getting a lot of good thoughts from you all over there while I'm doing this. Just making sure that it all comes up. So you can see how you have this really amazing, beautiful shine. Now for these other little pieces that I have to pull, I'm just going to bend them and just start to pop them out. And so because I was right on the edges of everything, these are really coming out nice and easy. And so I have this really beautiful shine. And again, it's just with this paper, just using a little bit of this paper, just pops it right out. And then I can just boop, pop all these little tiny pieces come through. These really, really easy to do. I kind of came up with this method when I first looked at it, and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with all these little pieces? But I found this was really the easiest method to do, was just keep everything together and then just line it up and then pop it on out. Now, don't forget, I still have those 2 extra pieces that had come out, so I'm going to add those in next. All right, and just another one right here. And you can just see the gold shine on this. Now, I could have done this with having like a darker pink, but I like the gold elements on this. It's a little funky. Sometimes I like my die-cut flowers to be a little bit funky. I don't know. I think I've been noticing that with me, is they end up and die cut with the no, you don't die cut with the press and seal, but put it on top of it, and then that will actually pick everything up. So instead of using the tape, where the tape would kind of like leave and would leave a little end to it, the press and seal won't leave any sort of residue behind like the tape would. So that's always helpful. And yes, I agree with you, Naomi. It's such a luxurious effect, and it really kind of like, I feel like it really takes the edge of your card, like whatever your project is, and just adding that little bit of gold just really makes it super nice. All right, so this one goes right along here. And I know you guys are like, how did you know where that went? And I'm using the die as my, I'm using the die as my, as for it to tell me. That's how I knew where it was supposed to go. And then I got this one little extra piece. And again, I'm using the die to tell me where it should go. So I'm just going to put in a little bit of glue on there. And just going to grab that little section and add it right over. So, and that's it. And that's the nice thing about this. You can make a ton of these out, especially if you can possibly glue the last bit on. You can make a ton of these because it's just 3 layers. And so that one is really nice. And I just love how that effect of that gold, like just look how beautiful and shiny it is. And die is your guide. Oh, I love it, Teresa. And it is just, it's so shiny. And so this is the gold mirrored cardstock. And that's where I wanted to use this to show you guys the difference between using this versus using the gold foil. Because the gold foil is more matte. This is really, really super duper shiny. So that's all the layers of this thing. That's it. And when I built this, I was like, you know, I would really love for it to have some sort of texture in the background. And so I like ransacked all of my 3D embossing folders. And I came up with one that I had just purchased. Gosh, I think it was December. It's an oldie but a goodie. But I think I don't know when the heck it came out. Let's see. Oh, it came out last year, but I didn't get it. So I bought it like way after the release. And Sarah, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You want this one. You really, really want this one. This, I know some of them are like, oh, craft a flower. I'm not so sure, but I'm telling you, you want this one. This is the Floating Foliage 3D embossing folder. And I think I'm in love with this. I love it. Like, I absolutely love it. So I did this on white. So I actually already did this because I was kind of playing around with my paper. And Christine, thank you so much for being here with us. I'm glad you had time to make it. And thank you, Nancy and Jean. And Petty 1976, thank you. And thank you so much. This is, we're playing around with the Craft a Flower butterfly bush. So we just made our flower. And I just wanted to point out our embossing folder. So this is just on a piece of white cardstock, but you have this, like, this one's gorgeous. Charlene, this one is beautiful. Just the thing you get. And because I feel like the Craft a Flower is all about texture, just having that like white on white embossing folder just gives it just enough texture. I wanted to play around with one idea that I had, if you guys would appease me. And then you're like, sure, we will, Amy, because why not? This is Inspiration Station, and we're going to go ahead and do whatever you want us to do. There's two other ways that you can add on this kind of like lighter gold look with it. And I'm going to do one of them. I might do the other one. I might do both, but we're going to at least try one of them. So this is just it on the white. And I think it's just gorgeous on the white. And then Altenew has two gold pigment inks. And they're both beautiful. And I wanted to show you what they both look like. Because one is a little bit more like translucent and one has a little bit more color to it. And I always forget which one. So I always have to start out with this. And you can actually use your blending brushes, which I had pulled out for us today, but again, lost. So I'll grab another pack. You can actually use your blending brushes. Now, what I like to do though, is before I use my blending brushes, like, cause I use them with dye inks, and you can have separate ones, but I kind of use them all for the same kind of stuff. So I'm just grabbing a couple ones, but I make sure that these are clean and that they don't have any sort of residue from any of my other stuff on them. And so I like to give them a little bit of a bath. And I like to make sure that I don't have anything. So I'll just take my microfiber cloth and I'll just make sure that they're nice and clean. So all right, so why I still have paper and cardstock, I know. Yeah, this is gorgeous. So let's take a look at both of these. These are great inks. So we have the Antique Gold and we have the Enchanted Gold. And so I'm going to start out with Enchanted Gold first. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of this and I'm just going to put it right onto my cardstock, just kind of blend it on here so you can see the color. And just get a little bit more on there. So this Enchanted Gold has this really beautiful, rich color. Let me just put that in here. So that's the Enchanted Gold. And then the Antique Gold is a little bit thicker, but it's not quite as warm, but it gives you a little bit more color. So you can see where this is a lot more translucent and this is a lot thicker, and this is the Antique Gold. So even with my embossing folder, so I already embossed this in the Floating Foliage 3D embossing folder. I can take my little guy here and I can just tap him off and I can just go right over the top of that. And I like the Enchanted Gold for this because I don't want a heavy layer. I'm just looking for something that is, this is, it's a good question. Is this a brush or a sponge? These are brushes. These are brush tips. This is not sponge. These are brush tips, but the bristles are like so well packed in that they really pick up a lot of ink, but then they deliver it. It's not like they're holding on to a lot of ink. They deliver it right to your project. I love these I kind of use these for all of my blending as I go in. So I can take my embossing folder and just add a little bit to this right along here. And just add that up. And what this will do, just this enchanted gold, is just going to add a little bit of warmth to our background. So now when I put my flower back on here, you can kind of see just really, really super subtle, but you can see the you can see a little bit of that warmth in the background. So it's not totally white on white versus if I have it on the white on white. Then it really, then all those kind of foliage that really is in the background. But here, now they're kind of popping up and they're becoming part of the background. So I kind of like how that looks too. You also can take your these inks and you can actually add them to the embossing folder and then run that embossing folder through your machine. And then that ink, all of these little pieces will all become outlined. We're going to mess around with that idea, but instead of adding ink to it, we're going to add embossing powders. We're going to add embossing powders. And I'll show you what that, because you're like, why can you do that? In just a second. So as you know, in an embossing folder, there's a deboss and an emboss side. And that's this idea that the image, it's either going to cut into the paper so you can see that here the paper is debossed, where it's pressing down into it, or embossed, where we can see it raised up just slightly. If you want it to look like this and you want it to be in the lines, then you always want to do any of your techniques to the side where the name is. If you want it to be like in the valleys and not in the actual lines of it, then you're going to do your techniques to this side. So I'm going to be in the line, so I'm going to do my technique to this side, and I'll show you what I am talking about. All right, so I'm going to grab, is that right? So I want to grab my embossing ink, and I'm going to grab a piece of paper. And what I want is I want the images. I want the outlines of this to get the embossing ink, so then I can take the embossing powder and put those over it. And so if I add this, if I add the ink to this side, I'm going to get the, whatever these raised edges are, this is going to get my ink, which I don't want. So I'm actually going to go over to this side, because then my image, the image is going to get that. So I'm just going to lightly just add this right over. And you can play around with this. I tend to do that a lot, where I just kind of see what the heck is going to happen. And it's a little bit of a game, because you get to kind of play around with it just to see what happens. Now, I kind of like, this will end up being a little bit of a distressed background, which is totally fine. But I do want to make sure that my ink is going to go where I want it to go. So I am going to treat this with a little anti-static powder tool, just to make sure that my embossing powder goes where I want it to. Now I can also take this, I can add a little water, you know, that whole thing about kind of softening your paper. And my favorite way to add water, oh no, where did he go? Here he is. Mr. Mister. He is a great and nice handy guy. Oh, Sarah, thank you so much. All right, so I'm just going to add just a spray of water on here. Okay, now I'm going to run this through my machine. And I have my machine right next to me. So let me put this right down. I think this was right. Got this new machine here, so I can do it on camera. And my plates are right here. All right, so now I'm just going to run this right through. And that fine mister is great. We're going to talk about those two different colors of embossing powder in just a second, just depending on, again, what it is that you would like for your project and what you want to happen on your project. So these are some different ways to add gold, but I thought it would be perfect with the yeah, that was not what I wanted it to do. That's all right. I'm going to do this a different way. All right, so it didn't come out where I wanted it to, so I'm going to do this a little bit differently, and I'm just going to grab my embossing ink, and I'm just going to go slightly right over the tops of my images, because that did not come out where I wanted it to, but that's okay. All right. All right, always use my children's homework, and I'm going to show you guys with the rose gold. The rose gold is a little bit warmer to me than the antique gold. And it's I like the color of it, and it's one of those ones that you're like, I don't really know what that's going to look like. So I'm going to show this to you guys on a comparison level so you can see the difference between the rose gold and the antique gold. So because I used my embossing ink on top of the image after I had already embossed it, it kind of went a little bit more than where I wanted it to. So I'm just going to go ahead and just knock some of this off and just kind of get rid of some of these little extra areas. And then I'll show you on another paper what that antique gold looks like. All right, so now when I emboss this, okay, so I'm just going to grab my embossing gun. Oh my God, Sue, is rose gold not the best? Gorgeous. And it's just another way to kind of enhance and kind of switch up what you're doing. You know, it's the white on white is gorgeous with these embossing folders because the detail is just amazing what you can get by running this through your machine with a white piece of paper. It's gorgeous. Or if you use a colored piece of paper, it's beautiful. But adding these little like inky techniques or adding a little bit of gold elements, you'll kind of see what we're doing with it. And I actually wanted to use this with just the butterflies. So I'm going to show you kind of, I wanted to make two cards. I know you're like, Amy, you got 10 minutes. But I'm going to show you how I do that again. So you can see this kind of coming through. So I love this because it gives this really cool looking distress look. And I just find that to be really neat on my projects. All right, I'm just double checking that I got it all. I think I got everything there. So take a look at that. Absolutely gorgeous, right? Nice and shiny. You get that beautiful though. Yeah, rose gold's gorgeous. So let me show you just really, really fast and quick the difference between the rose gold and the antique gold. And let me just grab my Versamark. Just going to stick one right there and one right there. So the antique gold, which we're going to do right on this side, it's kind of a burnished gold. It's a little bit darker. It's like, to me, like a gold, like a true gold. And when we look at the rose gold, when I see that, it's just a little bit warmer. And so depending on the kind of gold or type of gold that I want my project to have, that's all I'm looking for, is just for it to be a little bit different. So that's the two of them. Without being heated up, that's what they look like. And so you can see that. Yes, distressed, yeah. So you can just see that a little bit different. So when I heat them up, and I'm just going to quickly zap them. So you can see the color difference. And so this is our rose gold, and this is the antique gold. And it does look, it's just like a pure gold to me, and the rose gold just gives it just a little bit of extra warmth that I really, really love. All right, so what do we got here so far? What have we been playing around with? So what I have is I have the Craft a Flower butterfly bush. So you can see that I added that on top of a background that I made using the floating foliage 3D embossing folder that I added a little bit of enchanted gold pigment ink to. And this is the same or very similar background. So this is still the 3D embossing folder, but what I did is I added embossing ink to it. And by doing that, it just gives it a little bit of some heft to it. I wanted to, this even like just to kind of put that over there, looks gorgeous. I mean, it's gorgeous, right? And so you can add that on there and it just really kind of enhances everything. I'm going to keep this because this is really bright and shiny. I'm going to keep that over on that side. Now this die set, the Craft a Flower comes with these gorgeous butterflies. And so I want to take this butterfly. I'm actually going to cut him out of very similar paper that I had when I made the flowers. So I'm just going to grab some of that alcohol ink background paper. And I'm just going to run this through my Mini Blossom die cut machine. In fact, I'll do both of them through this. Here we go. If they can fit, they cannot fit. So I want to do this one through it. There we go. And I'm going to add this little guy on here because I can. All right, so then I'm just going to run these both through. Now, the card that I'm kind of working off of, this is obviously a little bit different than the card that I made for our blog hop, but the letters that I use, the thanks letters that I cut out of the gold foil paper, these are from the Tall Alpha lowercase die set. And those are super nice to have. I love them because they work perfectly for sentiments like this. I like alpha sets because I can write what I want to write. I'm not kind of in or, encased by anything. I can do what I want to do. And this is such a gorgeous set. And you can take this. And so I cut these out of the gold foil paper, which is beautiful. Or you can cut it out of, paper that you make with your embossing powder. I always do that a lot. And they're just really great to have on hand with this. All right. So now I have these, and I just wanted to show you on this background how beautiful these little butterflies look. Now, if you wanted to add a gold element on here, Altenew has the, oh gosh, I had them ready for us too. Here they are. These are the detail blending brushes. These are super fabulous. And I can go in with my detail blending brushes. And I'm just going to add a little bit more of my powder tool on here. And I can go in with my detail blending brushes. I can also, die cut this out of gold foil if I wanted to. But I just want to add in just a little bit. So I'm going to take my embossing ink and I can just kind of draw in where I want those gold elements to go. And then I can take my embossing powder and then just get that on there. So let me show you, because all of this alcohol ink background paper, I can emboss with it. And that's super great too. So let me grab my paper back that I lost. Here we go. And I'm going to grab my rose gold. I can add whatever I want to, but I'm going to add rose gold to this. And there's my gold detail right on there. And so all I have to do now is I just am going to very, very quickly, without burning myself, I'm just going to heat this up. I lost my tweezers. So I don't know where they went. I apologize if I'm off camera. It's just because I'm trying to not burn myself. And that's my little butterfly. And so even just with those detailed blending brushes and just a little bit of embossing ink, I can get that. So here's my 2 projects. And all I have to do is just finish these off with some sentiments. But you can see how beautiful, beautiful those look with that. And I would just finish this off very, very similar to my card, the way that I have it, and just use those tall alphas to add a sentiment in and put those in. Charlotte, this is great. I know I have a clothespin and I can't find it. It's somewhere, I swear. And but that's some ways that you can add gold. So we talked about pigment, we talked about the inks, we talked about some paper, we talked about embossing powder. Those are some ways that you can add those gold elements on. And of course, the set we focused on today was the Craft to Flower butterfly bush. And so I'm going to come on up, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you got some inspiration from this. And thank you so much for just taking a moment of your time. And I agree, you can use an embossing pen, though I don't have that. So that's why the detailed blending brushes kind of help a little bit. And I thank you so much for taking just a moment to craft your life with us here at Altenew. And I just wanted to give a huge shout out to Angel, who was behind the badge today and did a great job keeping up with me as I was throwing stuff out to her. But I hope that you have some time today that you can kind of craft out or kind of carve out some time for your crafting. And I just wanted to say thank you so much. I hope you have a super fabulous day, and I hope you got a little bit of inspiration. So thank you for tuning in to Amy's Inspiration Station on the Altenew Facebook and YouTube channels. Thank you so much, and you have a great day.